Wait,
Bro,
so
I don't.
Damascus, are you now
Jesus
Roman
Christ.
Catholic?
Hell no, bro. I'm still Eastern Orthodox. You really think I'm
Oh, I
gonna
was
be
about to
Catholic?
say, it's like,
A minute ago, he was saying he's Muslim.
oh shoot, man, you're gonna be drinking of Mary's blood and all that kind of stuff, like, or Jesus' blood and all that kind of stuff.
They still do that in Eastern Orthodox. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that. Yeah, we do.
What? Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Eastern
I don't think they
Orthodox believe
agree.
in. They do. They believe in transubstantiation.
Cannibalistic.
Dun dun dun. Oh no.
Transubstantiation doesn't come from the Catholics. It comes from the Church Fathers.
Hmm.
Fibdo, you a Christian?
Yeah.
Fibdo, if you witness the gospel to two different non-believers, do you believe that you've done your job in evangelism by just telling them, or
Spread the good news, man.
or
that
do you
word.
think that if you say win one and lose the other one, that you lost one because you didn't do a good enough job?
No, I think I've done my job in evangelism. My job isn't to, well, it is to be convincing and convince people. Like, I shouldn't be, Jesus died for you, bro, and leave, and that's the gospel. There's different ways to talk to different people. But, yeah, in general, I mean, the onus is not on me whether or not they're convinced.
Correct.
Dude,
Must
you're the
spread the good
fucking
news,
Socrates.
Fibdo.
You're literally the Socrates of Christ, dude. You make
That's
people
what
like
you're
Fibdo,
talk
supposed
about.
You must
Fibdo,
spread the good news.
are you a dispensationalist? Are you like a Zionist?
Yeah, no.
You dork.
Is that a
Low,
joke?
low
Right.
key, I was preparing.
Oh,
I
the
looked.
Zionist tag. Oh, yeah. It was just it's more of a joke tag. Uh, but what is it? I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, if you're like a Christian, you're somewhat of a Zionist. Like you hold the same view sort of as a Zionist. Like it depends. If you're like usually dispensationalists, they're like pre-mill, and they've already kind of like they hold kind of a um view of the world where they're just gonna kind of kick the can and lose, and
Can I just
eventually
interrupt you
Christ
there?
will save them. Yeah, what's up?
Fibdo, who is Israel?
Well, of course the church.
Jacob,
Well
baby.
done. Well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah, I mean,
Jacob.
it's like, well, I mean, I think Paul was very clear where he said not all people who are, descend from Israel of the flesh are truly Israel. And he makes a blanket statement to say those who have the same faith as Abraham are of Israel.
Yeah. And then he says in Romans 3, verse 3, that they were special because they got given special things, but because God needed them. But now he's got everyone.
Yeah.
Like that, though.
What does that mean? That means that, say you're God and you're going to like start over again. You're going to play like the new game plus. He's always going to need a nation to raise up, to not be perfect, to learn the way, to set an example, so that he can send Jesus to really take it home for everyone.
To exemplify his message. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, well, technically, I mean, if, when you ask the question, who's the true Israel? Technically, I mean, if you when you put it that way, technically Jesus is the true Israel.
Isn't it Jacob?
No, it'd be Jesus because the reason, the philosophy behind Jesus being the true Israel is he did what Israel was supposed to do, except he did it perfectly. But those who are Christians, they get that same glory. They're what is it? That I mean, essentially, the gospel is you're hiding in Jesus. All that Jesus has attained for himself, he dispenses to those who are in the church. So that
So
the glory of
Jesus,
his work comes to us.
so Jesus lived by the law, but also by the Spirit of the law, and both of those things he
Yeah.
did perfectly.
Well, he truly lived by the law. Living by the spirit of the law is truly living by the law.
Okay, but
Isn't that the law of the Pharisees? like Jesus said to do.
Today I was hearing about what Jesus did on the Sabbath a lot. You know how like he's like, if your donkey falls into a ditch, would you pick it up out of the ditch, even if it was on a Sabbath? And that's why I wanted to throw in the spirit of the law bit, because well, we don't get it sometimes, especially the Roman Catholics. It can
It's
be
all about
very
the
religious.
spirit.
Well,
Brother,
it's funny because it's still a problem with today's like Jewish people. Like it's a channel. I think it's called Solo Israel, or they're messianic Jews, and they interact with tons of just Orthodox Jew, like hyper Orthodox Jews, like hat wearing, long hair, long beards type of people. And one of the guys was saying, one of the faults of the Christians is they're not actually following to the law. And such a, like, even down to the Sabbath, they're making tea on the Sabbath. Like, what?
There's a mystical component to Judaism, right? And you kind of have to understand them as a priestly people to kind of get why they took the law so seriously, to the point where by the time Jesus comes, he's like, okay, you guys are like so focused on like the minutia, right? You guys are so focused on like the splinter in everybody's eyes. You don't see like the huge, blinding, glaring book of the law that's like stuck in your own eye. The mystical component here
Oh,
is
yeah.
that
Well, hypocrisy.
they were supposed to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, like, it's kind of like, well, Jesus' glaring remark toward them was generally about hypocrisy and fulfilling the promise of Ezekiel 36, which is that you're not going to be a complete hypocrite, that it's going to be, you're not just going to be like whitewashed tombs, dead inside, and you look pretty on the outside, that you're supposed to be actually look pretty on the inside and outside, that your heart is truly set towards God's ways, and you truly love your neighbor, and you love God,
Right,
rather
but
than
it's
you're
still
doing
not
all
about.
the
Good.
well, I'm just saying, like, you're doing all the things that God has commanded, and then you attribute this to, well, this is true love for God, is doing all the things, but your heart's really not set on it, and on the inside, you're actually a hypocrite.
Yeah, I don't think like the whole hypocrite thing. I think the whole hypocrite thing is a little bit overplayed because
Oh no, Dennis
Jesus.
Prager. I mean, like he was talking about like I mean, this is the ultimate form of hypocrisy. He says he doesn't care if you hate Jews; he cares if you treat Jews well. Like what?
Yeah, so the whole hypocrite thing is kind of like overplayed. There's something deeper than just like a textual interpretation of what's happening. There's like an intertextual thing, and the only thing that ties the intertextual is going to be a typological reading of the text. What I'm trying to get at is like, even what Jesus said or his teachings can't just be reducible to some moral maxim. That's not what's happening. Like, just to say that he wanted to point out the hypocrisy of those around him when it came to the law of God, that's not a lot of this like fulfillment of the covenant and stuff has a very mystical component to it. And when you look at Isaiah and it starts talking about, hero Israel, like the Shema, that prayer and calling itself Israel, the prophets are calling the people of Israel to be a priestly people. That's the point of the original promise, right? That's why they took the law so
Yeah,
seriously in the first place. When Jesus came, he didn't come to just point out the hypocrisy of like those religious leaders. That's not what his point was. The point was he was the fulfillment of Israel as a priestly nation.
yeah.
And once
Well,
you understand
yeah. I'm not saying
that,
that's Jesus's whole goal.
he
Like, yeah, his
literally,
whole ministry isn't just pointing out hypocrisy, because
it was
he's supposed to bring
literally,
salvation and condemnation.
no,
It
it's
was
not
a
just,
dual
it
role.
was literally, he literally came to set up a church.
No, I mean, this is part of the messianic prophecy. He's going to bring condemnation and salvation. Like it's a dualistic. So I mean, like that's why you have all the rhetoric of the axe is laid at the root of the tree. He's essentially telling them they're about to be cut off because of their hearts. Like this is the judgment of God upon them. Like, so that's part of like his main goal. But I also mentioned it was the other part was Ezekiel 36. He was creating a true priestly nation that was in not just whitewashed tombs, but they were not hypocrites of their hearts, meaning inwardly they actually loved their neighbors and they loved God, and it wasn't just a purely external thing. I'm not saying it's like it's monolithic. Like that's what I'm trying to say. It's not monolithic of what Jesus was trying
Yeah,
to
I'm
do.
not saying that it doesn't exclude moral maxims, but the moral maxims matter less than the actual work of Christ. And yeah, so I'm
I
not trying
mean,
to like
I think it all
dichotomize this,
matters. I
but
mean,
like
I don't know. I
here's the
mean, it
thing.
all matters.
Yeah, you could say it all matters, but at the end of the day, he came for the church. He's the
Yeah,
one who created the church, and he didn't create it
well, it
for man.
established the rule of God.
No, stop reducing it. He literally came to institute a ritual.
No, I mean, so when Jesus said, okay, so kingdom of God and rule of God are synonymous. So
I don't
like
think they
that's what he
are. I
came to
don't think
do.
they're
I came to
synonymous
establish
at
my
all.
kingdom.
I don't
No,
think
I
they're
mean, look it up.
synonymous
I
at
mean,
all.
you can just Google. You just Google this. Is kingdom of God synonymous with the rule of God? And you'll find it really is.
Yeah. So then it begs the question still, then who's the sovereign?
Well, of course, God.
No, it's Jesus.
I mean, but he's God.
Understood. Right, but what you're doing is you're just needlessly reducing these concepts. Like the whole point of Trinitarian distinction, right? And doctrine is to like distinguish. What is your understanding of the keys of the kingdom of heaven?
You're talking about Matthew 16, right?
Correct.
What was it? What you bind on? Well, I mean,
How would a
the fact that
first
the
century
keys.
Jew, what connotations are available to a first century Jew, but at the same time, given the context of Matthew, what is the denotation? What are possible understandings for a first century Jew in regards to keys to the kingdom? And then what's the actual plausible interpretation?
Um, I don't know exactly. Like, I couldn't give you a robust uh understanding of keys to the kingdom. Uh, I could simply say, like, when he says keys to the kingdom, it sounds like they carry authority. Um, and this is something that was, I believe, given to all the apostles by the time that you reach Matthew 18. Is it Acts 18? Matthew? I think no, Matthew 18.
So it just means authority.
Yeah, but it's like within the church. I feel like once you reach Matthew 18 and it starts talking about church discipline, you notably find this keys to the kingdom rhetoric. It's rulership within the church, the kingdom.
So church, kingdom, you're using all these terms interchangeably. But for a first century Jew, what would have been the connotations for keys of the kingdom?
I don't know actually.
Can I help you out a little bit? Can I help you a little bit out with this?
I mean, yeah.
Because obviously, like part of like what is kind of common sense to even contemporary man is the whole idea of keys, right? Like keys open doors, right?
Yeah.
They also lock doors and keep things out, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a Bible?
Right now, I can't access it right now.
Okay,
I've
so
got to grab some stuff.
I'll just type it in the side chat. I'm not trying to do any like I'm not proselytizing right now. I'm just gonna go over this and then we're just gonna leave it at that. So what I'm saying is I'm not trying to debate you right now, okay?
Oh, you're fine. I mean, I figured you weren't.
It's long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read, okay? So here's part of the connotation of what it would have meant for Jesus to refer himself as the high priest, and then also to give them the keys, or say it this way. So in Chronicles 9, chapter 9, Of the priests, Jedediah, Jehorib, Jachin, Azariah son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Merioth, and the son of Ahitub, and the official in charge of the house of God. Adiah, son of Jeroam, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah, and Masai, son of Adiel, the son of Jazerah, the son of Meshullam, the son
Skip
of
the begets,
Meshul
man.
Smith, and the son of Emer. No, I mean, this is part of the point, right?
Oh, sorry. I'm actually gonna. I'm gonna. Sorry. If you could send that to me, like in a DM, I've got to head out.
For sure, Mr. Protestant. We'll continue.
He's
All right, I got
brother.
you.
The priests
My
who were
favorite.
heads of the families numbered 1,760. They were able men responsible for ministering in the house of God. Of the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashab, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah, a Miriite, Bakbakar, Haresh, Galal, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, the son of Zikri, the son of Asaph, Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who lived in the villages of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers, Shallum, Akab, Talman, Ahiman, and their fellow Levites. Shallum, their chief, being stationed at the king's gate on the east, up to the present time. These were the gatekeepers belonging to the camp of the Levites. Shallum, son of Kor, the son of Ebiasaph, the son of Korah, and his fellow gatekeepers from his family, the Korites, were responsible for guarding the thresholds of the tent, just as their ancestors had been responsible for guarding the entrance to the dwelling of the Lord. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, was the official in charge of the gatekeepers, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, and the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Altogether, those chosen to be gatekeepers at the thresholds numbered 212. They were registered by genealogy in their villages. The gatekeepers had been assigned to their positions by trust by David and Samuel the seer. They and their descendants were in charge of guarding the gates of the house of the Lord, the house called the tent of meeting. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their fellow Levites in their villages had to come from time to time and share their duties for 7-day periods. But the four principal gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the responsibility for the rooms and treasuries in the house of God. They would spend the night stationed around the house of God because they had to guard it, and they had charge of the key for opening it each morning. This is the actual denotation for a first century Jew in interpreting the literal sense of Matthew 16. Imagine being a Protestant and equivocating between the kingdom and the law and authority. Imagine.
Is Damasco here?